Hello, here he is. Here we are. Sorry we're late, peeps. How is everybody doing?
I can't help thinking that that countdown at the start of the video there, with its epic orchestral symphony, would sound great with like right at the end having a needle pulled off the record and then going straight into the chat and loads of obscene jokes taking place.
I have thought of that. Afternoon, Matt, by the way. Demon Scythe, Synthwave, everybody. Bit of a mouthful. Managed to get it out today. You all right, Matt?
I am. I'm all right. I'm not bad. Yourself?
Not too bad. Not too bad. There's Cockney waiting in the wings. We'll bring him in a minute. Yeah, the Doomcock intro that I did for him, I was going to do that as well. Kind of go, with the needle.
Oh, yeah,
that scratch needle. It just it's just a great effect, isn't it? It's just like, whoop.
Yeah, it just says, it screams, professionalism, completely overshadowed by amateurish incompetence.
Which this channel doesn't.
Yeah, but you've got the amateurish incompetence bit. That's the important bit.
Yeah, got that down to a T, mate.
Yeah.
Right, we'll get Cockney in. Just bear with me. God, this computer's so slow. I need a new computer. All right, Cockney.
Amateurs. Start late and then you start early for being late. What is this? A wind up?
Sorry, don't
want to hear it. You're fired.
My ex-work colleague rang me up to see how I was.
And what did you say? I'm about to go on stage, but tell you what, I'll put my feet up and have a chat, shall I?
Well.
Tell me about your life.
No, well, listen. Considering that I worked with a guy for 11 years and he was sat next to me, I think it's a bit of a when he rings.
He's picked his moment, hasn't he?
When he rings, you answer. I think he's earned the right.
Oh well, there you go. Different writing, different philosophies. I'd have fucked him right off. I've got a show to do, son.
He's doing you a favour and listening in afterwards.
I don't know. I think he was just genuinely, because I've not seen him since. I went a few weeks ago to get a couple of bits from work, but that was just literally just 30 seconds. But yeah, it was a bit of a decompression moment from being employed to being told to fuck off, if you know what I mean. And there's going to be a lot of people in the same position as me, just like, what the fuck? It's not good.
Not really, no. But at least there's people like that still around, eh?
You do your best to scratch a living, and then it's taken from under you, and it's not good. But anyway, as I said to him on the phone, I miss him sat next to me and my mate sat next to him. But the rest of it, I have not missed it for 1 second.
You know what? It's exactly the same with me in my last job as well. It's what made any kind of sense me actually still going there was the people that I worked with. Like, sod the job, the management. It was the people,
Yeah, I will just say, you work with these. I worked with there for 18 years, and I've known this guy 17. He started the year after me, and he worked at a different location, but he came over in about 2007. So, God, it's even longer, isn't it? So yeah, he's sat next to me 14 years, and you spend more time with the people you work with than probably the people who you live with.
Yeah, or your mates. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you think about it, if you're sat next to somebody for 12, 13 years, 8 hours a day, assuming you like them, which I did, you know,
Be a bugger if you didn't.
yeah, these people are important. You know, they're as good as family, and you know, I've got no issue telling, you know, technically a complete stranger that, you know, I love him, etc., etc.
So if you're friends of the family that you choose, then are your work colleagues the friends that you don't choose?
I think that's
But
a
how that
discussion.
works.
That's a discussion for another show, don't you?
They're the friends that are thrust upon you.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Thrust upon you.
Usually, hopefully, for the you know, for the positiveness in your life, you know, adding more positivity to your life. It is poor having to work with people who you don't like, but I've been blessed. So the management are a set of cunts. Sorry.
That's
Not
often
in
the
a good
case.
way.
They obviously didn't give a shit about their loyal employees who they'd worked there for some longer than me. Refusing to give them a yearly pay rise for all those years. When I started there, I was effectively on a very, very tidy wage in 2002. 2 pay rises later, yeah, of 1.5%, I was on £400 more a year than what I was 18 years ago.
Right.
Oh. If you adjust
So-
for that for inflation, you've lost out.
So people, as I said, in 2002, I was more than happy with what I was on. And if I had have had, you know, say 2% a year or 2% every other year, because, you know, let's be realistic, I'd have been, you know, happy. But they would never give the longest serving employees a pay rise. So effectively, those people who had been there 20 years were effectively working on minimum wage. But I found out at the time, the guy who sat a couple of chairs away from me, who'd never done print in his life, yeah, 20 years younger than me. And don't get me wrong, I've got nothing against him. He's a good lad. And, you know, me and this other lad, you know, we're like family, yeah. He was being trained up to do the job. 20 years younger than me, no print experience. Found out after I'd been made redundant that, and bear in mind, this is me asking. I'd given up. I was asking for a pay rise pretty much every year, and then I just gave up. So I've not really asked for a pay rise in maybe 6-7 years. So
So many questions.
he was on 20 years younger than me, right? No experience. He was on £4,000 a year more than me. And I'd been there 20 years. And I was always made excuses.
If he had no experience, then I mean, let alone the extreme. But why? How did he even get the job?
Well, I think he had some because it was kind of like somebody to be kind of tutored, if you know what I mean. But he worked in a printers, as in doing estimating, so he had an idea of how stuff worked, which is why he got in. And he was a good lad. But they were going to train. He was going to they were going to train him up. You see, yeah. So he was on more money than me, but the reason why he was on more money than me, because when obviously they advertised the job, they would advertise it for the going rate at the time. So the job, what he did, the going rate was about 25 grand a year, and that was about 10, 12 years ago. So they're still underpaying him. Yeah, I should have been on about 30 grand a year, but they were just basically fucking putting me on minimum wage. I could have just gone down. You know, Aldi this week have said they're putting their kind of living wage to about £9.50. I could have just walked to the village instead of doing a 50-mile, 2-hour round trip, and just walked in Aldi and worked for the same pay. And my job, graphic designer, print repro, etc., degree educated, for fucking peanuts. And there's just, they used furlough to get rid of all these lowest paid people who they wanted to get rid of because, they deemed them as trouble or, whatever, or, they just wanted to downsize, and they used furlough. And I know for a fact there'll be other companies like this who use furlough to effectively get rid of all these people on the cheap.
It's very clever of them. But clever.
Very, very cynical. Yeah.
It is, because it's hard to fire people and you can't lay someone off without compensating them fairly. So they got around both those two, eh?
Yeah, I know. And as soon as the government brought the furlough scheme in, that was the death nail for a lot of people like me. And there's going to be a lot of people who early 50s who are going to effectively have to retire because they ain't going to get another job. Because employers look at them and go, 51, well, they're going to want X amount of money. 22, no experience, pay them fuck all. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to be forced to semi-retire like me. So unless if they learn new skill sets, I think it is a mess on every level, on every level, what's going on. And yeah, I just think we've not even, touched the surface of all this stuff that's going on yet. There's going to be a massive tsunami of unemployment, mental health, suicides, you name it. It's not going to be good. And you know what? What upsets me the most is all the young people who they should be at work now. All the people in the 20s, 30s, early 40s who are the lifeblood of the economy should be at work now, keeping the country moving. But what's happening is they're all having to stay at home to protect older people, 75, 80, 85, 90, who I've said this before, it's not me being awful. They've had their lives. They've had good lives. They've had everything on a plate. They've had the pensions, the cars, the houses. They've had everything. And now they're getting the vaccines first of all. Whereas it should be given to the younger people who are keeping the country alive long term. And I spoke to my sister who works in a shop the other day, and all the old people coming in, right? They don't give a fuck. They're not wearing masks or nothing. And then when they say, when my sister says you got to wear a mask, oh, do you? I didn't know. My dad, right? He never washes his fucking hands. Goes to the toilet and then comes in. Do you want a cup of tea? Not washed his fucking hands. They just don't fucking get it. It's people like that who are. That's why we're in the fucking mess we're in now. That is it too hard to wash your fucking hands after you've been to the toilet, or you do the shopping, come home, put the shopping away. This is what I do: put the shopping away, wash my hands, and then you just get on with it. Is it too much to ask someone just to wear a fucking mask and wash your hands, or just the courtesy of just wearing a mask going into a shop and not either pleading ignorance or just going off at the fucking poor shop worker who's only there doing the job? It's just this fucking arrogance of, who, me? Who,
Sheer
me?
fucking hubris.
Who, me? That's why we're in a fucking mess. We're in a fucking mess, ladies and gents. And this is for the UK, obviously. And I think with what's going on in America, where Trump has basically said you don't need to wear a mask, blah, 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 blah. And now Biden's turned all that over. In America, they're in a fucking mess. And there's just, I dread to think what state they're going to be in 2-3 months.
Now you've mentioned it. It was an interesting press conference where...
Sorry, guys, that was me on my soapbox. I do apologise.
Well, that's why I was jumping in. But no, that Biden press conference...
Sorry, Matt.
Who's the new press secretary or whatever it is for the Democrats going... Yeah, well, we're all wearing masks mandated, and someone pointed out...
Too late.
Biden's not wearing a mask, and she's like, oh, he's got more important things to worry about than COVID. What?
Too late.
Hey! But there you go. That's
Anyway,
Anyway,
Matthew, are you still there? Have you nodded off?
No, I'm listening to your rant, mate. Just reminds me back in the summer when I saw kids everywhere, like crowding in parks and not paying attention to any of the rules. You know, it goes across all ages, I suppose, really. But just ignorance and that kind of mentality of it doesn't apply to me. You know, they just don't think of the bigger picture, really.
Yeah, it's like with Christmas. I understand people have to go see family for Christmas, but just for fuck's sake, just try and be a little bit more careful instead of, who, me? Not going to happen to me. Who, me? And now we're getting this is all the Christmas stuff coming through, isn't it now? All the people who are dying. It's all the Christmas gatherings that's kind of filtering through the system now, but anyway. Fuck knows how this is going to get resolved. I just think a very large bottomless pit has been dug, and then, we haven't got any ladders.
Yeah, and at the same time, I've seen videos from certain places in Asia of people gathering in streets for New Year, and you know, out in pubs and bars. Same in Italy as well. I've seen all this going on. I'm thinking, like, hang on a minute, what? When was this taken? Surely like a year ago or something, 2 years ago? No, it's like last week. What is going on?
I just think
what is going on?
To be fair, I think after this lockdown, I don't think there's going to be a lockdown 4 because I just don't think nobody's going to follow it. People have had enough.
Yeah, if that keeps going on, then people are just going to go against it and say, "Well, it's going to go on forever."
I'm kind of thinking that people are thinking what I'm thinking now. I think we should have just let it run its course. That's part of life. You know, if I was worried about catching or getting knocked down by a bus by crossing the road, I'd never go out. And it's just a perfect storm of people living too long because of standard of living has increased, but the evolution of the human body hasn't caught up with the medical science. Combination of poor lifestyles, you know, smoking, drinking, eating fatty foods, dairy, blah blah blah. And obviously the evolution of the virus being particularly nasty. I just think it's a perfect storm of several components coming together, and I'm kind of thinking we should just let it run its course. But that's just me, you know.
Well, they let the flu pretty much run its course, didn't they? I mean, they gave flu jabs, but no one was that hot on keeping people apart and being overly hygienic, you know?
Yeah, is it survival of the fittest? I don't know. End of the day, end of the day, that's, you know, animals are the ultimate survivors, and to them it's survival of the fittest. And you know, we don't have that kind of because you know we don't have that. But viruses just do what viruses do. They don't give a shit.
No, you're going to get mutations. You're going to get a more deadly version, you know, around the corner. You know, you can never predict this kind of thing ever.
They go on about all this herd immunity, but it just seems to me, how can you get a herd immunity when people are just locked up or they've just dropped dead? There's no middle ground.
No, surely the herd immunity only comes about when everyone's got the antibodies, and you can only get the antibodies by actually getting the virus, can't you?
Yeah, but how can we get it when we're all locked up? I've been thinking about this last couple of days. I'm kind of thinking that sometimes I just wished I'd catch it so I could just get it out of the way.
I did think that myself last week, actually. Yeah.
We can't go on living like this.
No, I can. What did I see last week? Someone, it was only a joke, but I thought, well, that's quite prophetic and actually quite relevant. Was the Star of David badge with like a comment on it saying, "Oh, we're going to have to all wear these soon to say that we've either been vaccinated or we've got the antibodies or something." You know?
Barcodes on the forearms, mate.
Yeah.
Any final words, Cockney?
It's a right old cock up. No, it does seem the worst of both worlds, basically. We've had the lockdown, the mental health issues, the destruction of the economy, and the spike in cases. It seems like madness to me.
And all for nothing, it seems, because
exactly.
People are just dying anyway. And I know young people have got the faults, you know, as in like Twitter and all that stuff. But genuinely, they're going to have to pick the fucking bill up for this. And it's them I feel sorry for. anyway.
I can only see it in a. An optimist is never pleasantly surprised. I can only think it's going to get worse and just get used to the idea. And if it does get better, I'll be glad I'm wrong. But quite frankly,
Things can only get better.
Yeah, except I think they can get worse, then maybe better.
Yeah, they're going to get worse. I fear they're going to get worse.
War with Iraq next. War with Syria. Well, still in the old war with Iraq, aren't we? Is it Gulf War II? Gulf War III?
War with ourselves. Civil
war with Iraq,
war.
yeah. War with Iran, war with Syria, war with each other, war with ourselves, war of the mind, internal war, cultural war.
War is good.
Lucasfilm. War is good for absolutely nothing except
for making a profit.
Except for making a profit. Indeed.
Nice little. Hello, viewer. By the way, hello, viewer.